Here is today's Daily Tech Hack Global Briefing for June 28, 2026. The top 3 stories are: fresh pnpm security advisories in GitHub's reviewed advisory database, a current security report about law enforcement disruption of the cybercrime assembly line, and a policy story about moving faster away from quantum vulnerable cryptography. The main takeaway is practical: AI and automation are making old trust boundaries smaller. Package managers, remote workflows, security operations, cryptography roadmaps, and AI agents are now part of one connected operating surface. First, the developer security headline. GitHub's advisory database published a cluster of reviewed pnpm advisories, and the important part for builders is not a single scary phrase. It is where pnpm runs. It runs on developer laptops. It runs in CI. It runs inside containers. It is often invoked after an AI coding assistant suggests a fix, updates dependencies, or tells a developer to reproduce a build. The summaries in GitHub's feed describe high-severity pnpm issues involving project-selected package management behavior, path handling, and install or patch workflows. That is enough to justify immediate hygiene. Upgrade pnpm according to vendor guidance, review lock file and patch changes like real code, and make sure build jobs cannot write broadly outside the workspace. The AI angle is real but should be stated carefully. These advisories do not mean every AI coding agent is dangerous by default. They do mean that automation multiplies assumptions. If a repository contains configuration, patch data, lock files, scripts, or package manager metadata, an agent should not silently convert that untrusted project content into an approved side effect. A safe workflow asks before install commands, shows what changed, runs in a sandbox where possible, and keeps credentials out of broad environment variables. For companies adopting agentic development, the security checklist should include package manager versions, repo trust rules, and logging for tool calls. Second, Ars Technica's current security feed highlights a global operation disrupting what it describes as a cybercrime assembly line. The defensive lesson is that modern cybercrime is modular. One group may steal credentials, another may sell access, another may operate malware, and another may provide payment or hosting infrastructure. When defenders talk about ransomware or large-scale fraud, the visible incident is often just the final product of that supply chain. Businesses should map the pieces they can control: identity monitoring, phishing-resistant authentication, endpoint telemetry, egress controls, backup testing, and fast account revocation. Everyday users should think in the same pattern: unique passwords, passkeys, or hardware security keys where available, and skepticism toward urgent messages that push them into payment, remote access tools, or credential handoff. Third, Ars also lists a technology policy story about a shortened deadline for dropping quantum vulnerable cryptography. This is not only a government compliance item. Post-quantum migration affects cloud services, VPNs, code signing, device fleets, certificates, embedded systems, and long-lived encrypted data. The phrase to remember is harvest now, decrypt later. If data has a long confidentiality lifetime, attackers may collect encrypted traffic today and wait for future capability. The practical response is inventory. Know where RSA and elliptic curve cryptography are used, track vendor post-quantum plans, test hybrid approaches in non-critical environments, and avoid waiting until a mandate becomes an emergency change window. Fourth, the AI product signal today comes from RSS items about AI agents and assistant-centered workflows. One current Ars item says Notion is shutting down a Skiff-influenced email app while many users move toward AI agents instead. TechMeme also features an item about Microsoft's Copilot organization. The confirmed facts here are limited to the feed headlines, so the analysis should stay general. Software companies are repositioning around assistant interfaces. That changes retention and security. Users may not want another standalone app if an assistant can summarize, schedule, search, and draft across tools. But the same assistant needs scoped permissions, transparent memory, and a way to prove what action it took on the user's behalf. Fifth, the market and infrastructure signal is that AI adoption keeps pulling attention toward chips, memory, payments, and real-world workflow data. TechCrunch's feed includes a current item on Wall Street interest in Micron as an AI infrastructure play, and another on AI's role in digital payments. TechMeme's feed includes AI-powered scouting in Brazilian soccer. These are different sectors, but the pattern is similar. The next phase of AI value depends on where models touch operational data. That can be memory bandwidth in data centers, fraud and risk scoring in payments, or structured evaluation in talent scouting. The opportunity is real, the governance challenge is also real, because biased data, opaque automation, and weak controls can scale just as fast as useful predictions. So what should builders, security teams, and business leaders do today? For pnpm and JavaScript build systems, patch quickly, pin known good tooling versions, isolate CI, and treat lock file or patch file changes as security relevant. For AI coding assistants, require approval before commands that install dependencies, right outside the repository, change secrets, or open network access. For cybercrime risk, assume attackers are using a supply chain and break as many links as possible with identity controls, logging, and rehearsed recovery. For cryptography, start the inventory now. For AI products, design permissions before the launch demo, not after the first incident. The bottom line, today's news is not just about a package manager, a cybercrime operation, quantum policy, or another AI product shift. It is about the same convergence from different angles. Automation is becoming the interface to software, and software is becoming the interface to business operations. That makes verification, least privilege, source review, and auditability the competitive advantage. If your team can move fast while proving what changed, who approved it, and what data or system was touched, you are better prepared for the next wave of AI and cybersecurity risk.